The 2022 offseason trades and drama have begun, and the Los Angeles Lakers are not being left out. The Western Conference organization has been active so far, trying to rebuild the prestigious team that missed the playoffs despite having stars like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and even Dwight Howard on their roster. So before the NBA free agency even began, the Lakers organization has been busy in the market as they'd added the likes of Scottie Pippen Jr., Juan Toscano-Anderson, Troy Brown Jr., and Damian Jones to their roster. This came after Russell Westbrook, who was rumored to leave the Lakers after his less than impressive performance, exercised his $47.1 million player option to return to the Lakers for the 2022-23 season. However, it appears that they are not finished, as the Los Angeles Lakers are now actively working to add Brooklyn Nets point guard Kyrie Irving to their roster, raising questions like, how can they make this trade possible while Westbrook remains on the roster? How will Kyrie fit into the team? Are the Nets willing to make this trade? Stay with us to find out. To say the Los Angeles Lakers 2022 season was subpar would be an understatement. The 2020 NBA champion went 33-49 and finished 11th in the Western Conference, thereby missing the playoffs despite their star-studded roster. The Los Angeles Lakers had 4 members on the NBA's 75th anniversary team, including LeBron James, who had his best points per game average since the 2005-2006 season, averaging 30.3 points in the 2021-22 season. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get the Lakers into even the play-in tournament. Also, by age average, the 2021-22 season Lakers roster was the oldest last season, and they were so plagued with injuries that they used 41 different starting lineups, causing them to be the only team not to have a single 5-man lineup that played 100 minutes. In addition, star center Anthony Davis had his second consecutive injury-plagued season, playing 40 games out of a possible 82 in the regular season, while LeBron James ended up playing 56 games due to injuries, and Russell Westbrook, who was brought in to provide support to both LeBron and AD, was absolutely disappointing. Earlier in the 2021-22 season, Russell Westbrook was added to the Lakers roster in a trade that saw Washington Wizards acquire Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Aaron Holiday, Spencer Dinwiddie, and the draft rights of Isaiah Todd. The addition of Westbrook made many Lakers fans and sports analysts consider the Los Angeles Lakers favorites to win the 2022 NBA championship, but as we already know, the Westbrook deal proved to be a bust. The addition of Westbrook was disappointing from the start, as the 2017 NBA MVP scored 8 points on 4 of 12 shooting from the field in his debut game against the Golden State Warriors. On Christmas Day, Westbrook played 37 minutes and scored 13 points on 4 for 20 shooting from the field against the Brooklyn Nets. In a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he also had 9 turnovers in the 33 minutes he played. During the regular season, Westbrook averaged a subpar 18.5 points per game on a 44.4 field goal percentage, a 29.8 three-point percentage, and a 66.7 free throw percentage. He also averaged 3.8 turnovers per game, ranking him 6th in the league for turnovers committed per game. In summary, the combination of Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis never worked, as the trio only played 21 games together, finishing 11-10, and when only 2 of the trio played, they had a 20-33 record. The entire team was in shambles, and the Los Angeles Lakers eventually ranked 21st in defensive rating and 23rd in offensive rating. Also, Frank Vogel, the Lakers head coach who led them to their title win in 2020, was fired at the end of the regular season, and it was reported that Russell Westbrook's less than impressive performance contributed to his dismissal. So, given their disastrous season, the Lakers have begun a major rebuild, which began with the sacking of their head coach and the addition of some other role players. However, it was recently revealed that Kyrie Irving has been on their radar before free agency opened, as the Lakers were hoping to sign the Nets point guard as an unrestricted free agent for the $6 million taxpayer mid-level exception. Kyrie Irving's inability to sign a full 5-year, $245 million max contract appeared to be the ideal opportunity for the Lakers to sign him. But Kyrie eventually exercised his $37 million player option for the 2022-23 season, making him ineligible to sign and trade, preventing the Lakers from signing Kyrie Irving on a long-term deal. Irving stated that he was happy at the Nets and was hoping to fulfill his 4-year commitment to the Nets and Kevin Durant. At the time, the Los Angeles Lakers were planning to waive Russell Westbrook's $47.5 million player option to sign Kyrie Irving, whose salary was $10 million less than Westbrook's, but as soon as Kyrie exercised his player option, the Lakers were forced to retain Westbrook, who also opted into his final year contract. But their chances of landing Kyrie Irving started looking good after Kevin Durant, Kyrie's teammate, requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets in recent weeks. And according to ESPN's Brian Windhorst, it now appears Kyrie is focused on joining the Lakers, as he further added that Kyrie to the Lakers is very much back alive. Windhorst further claimed that the Lakers are pursuing a deal that might see Russell Westbrook traded to the Nets. Kyrie Irving to Lakers trade sounds reasonable given that Kyrie and LeBron James have a proven partnership, have gone to 3 straight NBA Finals, and winning a championship together with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Also, LeBron and Kyrie both scored 41 points in Game 5 of the 2016 NBA Finals, making them the first teammates to score 40 points in an NBA Finals game, so they have a chemistry that has been proven to work. And even though they had a big falling out, it has been reported that they both reconciled and are back to being buddies. Also, a Kyrie-Laker deal for the 2022-23 season seems right given that Anthony Davis is injury-prone. Also, the Lakers need a proven shooter with playoff experience to partner LeBron James. The likes of Juan Toscano-Anderson, Troy Brown Jr., and Damian Jones, who have been added to the roster, have so far combined to hit just 85 three-pointers last season, which is just 6 more than Russell Westbrook made. Also, between their new additions, including recent champion winners like Toscano-Anderson Jones, they've all played a combined 147 playoff minutes in their entire career, which, when compared to the minutes played by an injury-prone Anthony Davis in just the 2021 playoff series against the Phoenix Suns, is not acceptable. While Kyrie Irving does not solve their defensive struggles, adding him to the roster gives the Lakers the advantage of using the salary gap between Kyrie and Westbrook to land another decent player on the roster. Nonetheless, the Kyrie deal isn't all roses for the Lakers. In 3 years with the Nets, Kyrie missed 41% of their games, appearing in only 103 of a possible 226 games due to injuries and vaccine refusal, which caused him to miss the start of last season and the majority of the Nets' home games. However, the Lakers and the Nets are presently discussing a trade that would send Russell Westbrook to the Nets in exchange for Kyrie Irving. Also, there are reports that the Nets want Joe Harris to be traded as part of the deal after he played just 14 games for the Nets in the 2021-22 season after suffering from an ankle injury that required surgery. They also want his remaining $38.6 million owed over the next 2 years to be included in the deal. But the Lakers would rather have Steph Curry, who has missed a total of 33 games in the last 2 seasons due to injury and is on an expiring $8.5 million deal, be included in the deal instead of Harris. And this negotiation has been a stumbling block so far, given that the combined salary of Kyrie and Harris would increase the Lakers' payroll by $8 million from their current mark. Also, with the Nets likely to request a future first-round pick, which the Lakers will probably decline, the deal is a complex one and is left to the Lakers front office to find a 3-way deal that does not involve Westbrook landing in Brooklyn. By the way, the Nets might not be interested in adding Westbrook to their roster given his history with Kevin Durant and how poor his shooting would affect Ben Simmons, who hasn't even played a single game for the Brooklyn Nets since he joined the team last season. So, should the Nets prefer not to acquire Westbrook, the Lakers will have to find a third team that will help make the Kyrie deal happen. But in a turn of events, it appears like the Brooklyn Nets organization is presently prioritizing Kevin Durant, who requested a trade, and they are not interested in helping Kyrie find a suitable team at the moment, because according to ESPN's Brian Windhorst, the Nets don't know what they're trading Kevin Durant for. They may not want to do a trade with Kyrie Irving that takes on money. You may take a bunch of money when you do a Kevin Durant trade. You don't know what your books are going to look like. Windhorst went on to say that the Nets have no intention of accommodating Kyrie Irving and that the 30-year-old point guard could be used as a tool to help the Nets rebuild, and that because of his salary, he could be involved in a 3-team trade or a 4-team trade to get the Nets whatever they want. This could be a draft pick from the Phoenix Suns or the Los Angeles Lakers, or simply offloading some players to lighten their salary cap. Nonetheless, the Kyrie deal seems to be an exciting one for Lakers fans, as Kyrie is obviously a talented point guard and, given his experience playing alongside LeBron James, his addition would mean that the Lakers can now move on from their disappointment with Westbrook and finally compete for an NBA championship next season. 4-time NBA champion Draymond Green also shares the same sentiment, as he believes the Kyrie and LeBron-proven dynamic will make the Los Angeles Lakers contenders for the next year's championship. With LeBron, if you give him someone like Kyrie, they'll have a chance because of the way Kyrie can score the basketball. LeBron will only put him in position to do that. Kyrie has not proven to be a great leader. LeBron will put an umbrella over that. If you can do what you're good at, you have LeBron leading, Draymond said. However, as the drama of the offseason unfolds, fans of the NBA will be hoping they could have another Kyrie-LeBron duo before LeBron James leaves the Lakers franchise when he becomes a free agent next summer. Do you think the Los Angeles Lakers could land Kyrie? Do you think a Kyrie-LeBron partnership wouldn't be as disappointing as the Westbrook partnership last season? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Enjoyed this video? Now hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any exciting NBA scoop. Thanks for watching.